I going to be reading our entire playbook right now and putting it on blast on social media? Absolutely. The chance that anybody's going to A, take this seriously, or B, put it to use is zero, because everybody's full of head trash, and unless they're on our team and truly know our process it and want to implement it accordingly, they're just not going to do that. So number one thing on here, Ezra specifically, right, the pattern interrupt. This is something that, me and Pat had talked about. An example of that is, do you mind if I take a second to explain why I knocked, and then you can decide if it makes sense for us to talk further. We get a mutual yes at the beginning of the conversation to pitch the homeowner or to start that conversation. This takes the pressure off of you and the prospect and sets the foundation for your conversation. The person that tells you no or to screw off after your long-winded 30-second pitch of wasting your time is the same person who will tell you to screw off after you've asked them if it's okay if you let them know why you knocked. Either way, you are going to get no's, and it is inevitable that this individual is going to say, get off my porch, slam the door in your face, and or not engage you at all. But why would you want to waste, your 30, 60-second pitch on somebody that's going to say that anyways? So you might as well preface it by saying something that's a little uncanny. Do you mind if I take a second to explain why I knocked? And then you can decide if it makes sense for us to talk further. People almost always will say yes, and then that way it buys you that little bit of time and sets the foundation for the rest of the sale. Number two, man, the key difference in why our system is different is preloading objections into our initial pitch. We use the 3 things pitch. This is also something they've never heard before. What they have heard 1,000 times is, have you gotten your roof looked at yet? We're in the neighborhood doing free inspections. We're doing a roof up the street. Preloading and setting the stage for the homeowner to give you a solid response and start a conversation helps you mold the sale and start the conversation. Furthermore, it shows professionalism and that you are communicating what you've heard and the extended time that you've spent in the neighborhood. I'll read one more and then I want to hear y'all's thoughts. So qualifying, far too many times salespeople, specifically roofers, have fallen victim to the prospect system, which is to gather information, commit to nothing, and put you in chase mode. Our system is specifically designed to ensure that we are dealing with a qualified prospect. Towards the end of the pitch, you will notice that the most important part of this entire script is the qualifying piece. Our competitors will bend over backwards as they hear yes from a prospect, like a dog getting handed a treat, and no idea this individual is a qualified prospect. They rush to grab the ladder and run up to the roof, just to be told by the homeowner, this looks really great, and you're probably one of the best salespeople that I've ever met, but why don't you go ahead and email that over to me?
Let me talk to the wife about it.
Let me talk to the wife about it.
Chew it over.
Yeah, chew it over. Let me send this over to the planning committee and really get a good idea if we're going to think about this or not.
But Cameron, thanks so much, because you are such a good explainer. You're the best roof salesperson I've ever sat with. And I've sat with like 5 in the past couple months. Haven't committed to any of them, but you're the best, man.
I appreciate that. Are you going to email me this an hour later?
Oh, right away.
This is not and never will be us. We take a step back after getting a yes. We qualify to ensure that we're talking to somebody serious about doing business, and then we run up on the roof. With that being said, let's talk about the qualifying aspect, man. Far too many times, salespeople, specifically roofers, have fallen victim to the prospect system. They hear yes and they want to grab their ladder and run right up the roof.
But they don't have a system of their own.
They're having to do what? They're having to revert back to the prospect system.
What is that for Ezra's edification?
Yeah, so the prospect system is to commit to nothing, to put you into chase mode and to gather information.
With no next steps or level of commitment whatsoever. Yeah, regarding our qualification process, that's probably the biggest thing amongst many that set us and our selling behaviors and our performance apart. Yeah, most, not just roof guys, but most sales professionals, if you want to call them that, as soon as they get the yes to their free inspection with no level of commitment, there's zero expectations set up front, zero level of commitment, zero clear statement of intent, and most importantly, next steps. Yeah, sure, go on, take a look at it. Hop right up there. That's when I put the brakes on, pull back, and ask qualifying questions.
Yeah.
That's going to start with a clear statement of intent, our intentions, what we're looking for. This is exactly what we're going to be looking for, identifying and documenting on your property. We want to see if it meets this certain threshold of damage. This is how that relates to what insurance is looking for, and lets you know one way or the other. Might let you know, hey, there's not quite enough, etc. But if we do find that it meets that threshold, these are the 3 golden words, no compromise words. Our next steps today. Okay, that's 4 words. Our next steps today are going to be get the claim in, get the ball rolling with the whole insurance process. The verbiage doesn't even matter so much, but what matters is the statement of intent. Here's what we're looking for, here's what we're doing, and if X, then Y. If we find this, then our next steps today. You cool with that?
Yep.
4 times out of 5, they're going to say, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hey, if the damage is there, you can get it done. Let's do it.
I like the guy that might say no to that. That might not be okay with that. What does that do for us? The
Oh, it saves us a lot of
sale,
time.
dude. Like, why are you telling me this? I just lost my sale.
Yeah. Well, that 1 out of 5 might push back. Hey, our next steps today are going to be to do X, Y, Z. That cool by you? Or maybe they won't tell you no. They'll be ambiguous. Yeah, well, we'll see what you find, then we'll talk about it. And typical, chump, amateur, is going to say, perfect, and run and grab their ladder. That's when you put the brakes on again.
Yep.
And restate your intent, clarify that. We are going to talk about it and review our photos and findings when we're done, but we want to be really respectful of both your time and ours, make sure that we're not wasting any here. Our intention is to, reiterate. And if we do find that, this is what we're going to want to do today. Is that something you're open to? And if not, no worries, man. I don't want to waste an hour scurrying on your roof, sitting at your kitchen table. You probably have better things to do as well.
Yeah, well, either way, man, I don't really want to make a decision. So you guys can knock out the inspection, shoot me over that email, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and that's when you're going to walk away from that.
Exactly.
And project how you're going to feel, right? How are you going to feel after you acquiesce to their system? You go do your free inspection. You spend an hour running around on their roof at their kitchen table, and then they tell you they got to think it over. They got to talk to their wife. They got to talk to their insurance agent. They got to go see what their deductible is.
Yep.
But they're totally going to get back to you. But just email that to me. If you're delusional and naive, you're going to walk out of there thinking that, that's going to be a sale. If you have any time in the game, you're going to have that voice in the back of your head gnawing at you. You just wasted all your time, and you did. Whereas if you hard disqualify that inspection, that prospect, you're going to walk away from that door feeling like $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? Because you stuck to your system, you did not compromise, and you just saved yourself a bunch of time and headache. But circling back, next steps, they got to agree to that. That's the sort of linchpin of the qualification process. Decision maker, I'll run and grab my ladder for you and get started. Before I do, when it comes to stuff like this regarding your home, is there anyone else you want to loop into the conversation? Anyone else you want to be a part of the conversation that you make decisions jointly with, or is it just a you
That's
thing
a little
now?
bit of a personal question, man. I don't think I'd personally, as a sales rep, I would never ask that because I'm breaching their personal life now.
Yeah, well, that's just an elaborate cope for your discomfort, and that's pure head trash. And that sales rep might delude themselves that, I'm so chill and just have so much rapport with my clients. I don't need to do all that. Well, that's the guy that gets told, I got to think about it. I got to talk to my wife over and over again. We don't get told that because, like you said, we preload the objections up front. Lastly, qualification. Hey, when it comes to stuff like this regarding your home, do you have anyone that you know or any company you kind of rely on for this sort of thing, roofing, or?
Why would I want to bring my competition into the picture of my sale?
Because if you don't, and we've all been there, sometimes going to get told, hey, thanks for all that free consulting and all that free information. I actually have, I just remembered, a brother-in-law. Yeah, my auntie's ex-boyfriend used to work in roofing, I think. So I'm going to want to get with him because he's kind of a joint decision maker. You wasted your time. You're not going to win the deal. In recapping, clear statement of intent and agreement to next steps, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Decision maker, right? Obviously, we're not touching our ladder if both decision makers aren't present.
Yep.
And Lastly, a little bit more uncommon than gotta talk to my wife about it. Do they know a roofer, whether it's friend, coworker, whatever, because that is pretty common, particularly in this market in North Texas.
So two things I want to highlight there, especially for you, Ezra, is some of the things that he said there that are absolutely vital, right? Are the linchpin, which is the qualification piece. Where, I mean, we've talked about this several times. The qualification and the next steps, and what the second point I was going to bring up is the radical transparent statement. We like to be radically transparent with our intentions, right? So you get that yes, yeah, that's great, but most sales reps in that instance would think they have the world in their hands, that they think they're holding something, when in all actuality they're holding nothing, because they haven't qualified. They don't know what this person's story is. They don't know if this person's wife is home. They don't know if this person has a roofer that they know and trust waiting in their back pocket, so that you can go ahead and give them that free inspection, and then spit out all that information, spend an hour around the kitchen table, and then ultimately just for that homeowner to go, yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to run that by my contractor. So, point being is qualification, along with the pattern interrupt and preloading kind of the objections with the three things pitch are really it's the entire process in and of itself. But that qualification piece is key.